As of late, I've been getting a lot of questions from subscribers about the best place to actually sell a comic. And I've handled topics like this in the past where people once upon a time wanted to know my thoughts on the best grading company. But in this video, we are going to tackle the best place to actually sell a comic. And we are going to name names, and we're also going to reveal a couple of secrets. If you are curious as to what my thoughts are, I want to encourage you to stay tuned for the video. Reggie here, your friendly neighborhood bodybuilder and comic book collector, and I want to welcome you to another one of my videos. In this video, we are going to talk about the best ways to sell a comic, the best place to actually sell a comic. We're going to break it down in this video, much in the same vein as we've addressed these types of questions before, where people have asked about the best of something. And yes, I am going to name names, and yes, I'm going to reveal some secrets, and yes, I'm going to throw a few curveballs. The very first curveball that I'm going to throw is that there is no best place. There is no best place to actually sell a comic. And part of my struggle when people ask me this question is, what is the definition of best? Is best the website or app or platform that allows a comic to be sold the fastest? Or is it that website, platform, or app that allows the seller to make the most amount of money because their fees are relatively low? Is best the website, app, or platform that has the biggest selection, or the one that has the most number of people that are signed up for it? Is it the one that actively promotes the books and the collectibles that are being sold on the platform? Is best the same for everybody? That is my struggle, is that it is impossible for me to tell you what the best actually is for you, much less to say which is the best without a true definition of a word that is very abstract. The best means so much and nothing all at the same time. So to that point, there is no best. While there is no best, there are options, and that is both good and bad. If there were only two options, it would be relatively easy because you would pick this one or that one. But the truth is that there are a lot more options out there, and they all have their pluses and minuses. Some only do graded books, some do raw, some do both graded and raw. Some have bigger user bases than others. My point here is that there are a lot of options, including sponsors of this channel like Shortboxed and Hip Comic and MySlabs.com. But in addition to that, there's the apps that are out there like Macari and OfferUp and Let Go. There is Facebook Marketplace. There is, of course, Instagram, which is a great platform to be able to tap into. And there's actually videos here on the channel that show you how to use Instagram to actually sell comics. There is comicspriceguide.com that allows you to look up the value of a comic, organize it in a virtual collection, and even sell it all on the exact same platform. And as I mentioned, all of these apps, websites, platforms have their pluses and minuses. And so you'll have to figure out which makes the most sense for you. The second thing that you have to consider is how much time do you want to dedicate to this activity? You also have to figure out how many books you have and whether they're raw or graded, and then of course how much time you have to dedicate to this activity. There are some platforms out there that allow you to get a book listed relatively quickly. There are others that take a little more time, but you have to think about, do you want to list all of your books individually? Is there enough value there to warrant you taking the time to literally take photos of every single book, front cover, back cover, look at the page quality if it's a raw book, right? But it takes time to get these posted. Is that something that you want to do? Do you want to be going back and forth with sellers, depending upon the platform, and ultimately deciding on a price and bundling that comic up, and of course having to buy materials to bundle the comic to be able to mail it out? Is that what you want to do? Or do you just want to sell the collection as a whole collection? Depending upon the value of your collection, that might not be an easy task. I spoke to a guy about 6 months ago that had a collection. He wanted to sell it all at once. Wonderful books, wanted to sell it all at once. It amounted to about $125,000. That is not necessarily a small sum of money that any and everybody has access to spend on comics. So while that was his preferred method, sell it all at once, he's looking for a single buyer that has the ability and the desire to actually pay what he is looking for. So there's a lot of factors here that have to be considered, and one of the biggest is your time commitment. So you have to think about that, and that I think will also help you to decide which platform, which method of sale is going to be best for you. The third thing that you have to think about is share of voice. And what I mean by that is that you could have your site set on a platform that is relatively easy for you to get your comics loaded up there to sell. But if no one is talking about that platform, is that the right platform? If no one is talking about it, if you're not seeing social media posts, if they are not actively promoting the books that are available on their platform for you to buy or for people to buy, is that the right platform for you to actually sell your comic on? So you have to think, where are the eyeballs? Where is the excitement? Where is the energy? Go there. Because if you go there, then you're more likely to tap into a user base that has an interest potentially in the book that you are actually offering up for sale. So think about it. Keep your eyes open. Look at the market and look for where the buzz is. Go there, because that might be the best way for you to actually sell your comic. The fourth tip is you want to look at the requirements for that platform or that app or that website. There are some platforms that are relatively easy for you to gain access to become a seller. There are others that are a little more involved. Recently, eBay changed a lot of how they were doing things for sellers, which may put some hurdles in people's way. And those hurdles could prevent people from offering their books up on eBay for sale, and could also prevent people from actually buying books on eBay. And this is just an example, but you want to identify a platform, a website, an app that you want to work with, and dig into the details to understand what are the requirements for that specific platform. Does it make sense for you? And without digging in, it might look great on the surface, or it might look bad on the surface. And it's not until you go into some of the fine print, into some of the details, that you realize what the truth might be. So the fifth tip that I want to offer is to consider if a mix and match approach is best for you. And what I mean by that is that as you look at the books that you are trying to sell, you might decide that you need to take a mix and match approach using multiple platforms and apps to actually sell these books. So if you have some high-end slabbed books, you may want to sell them on one platform, a platform that might not allow for raw sales, but you have raw keys in your collection that will fetch a couple of bucks. You may choose a different platform for those books. There could be some really inexpensive books in your collection, like $3 or $4 or something like that, that might not do well on a website, especially in bulk, because people have to pay for shipping. So for those bulk books that are low dollar that you might want to move, selling those books locally via an app or Facebook Marketplace could be a good option for you. My point here is that best might not be the best thing. A multifaceted type of approach might be the best way to go. You could even reach out to your local comic shop and move some books that way, or reach out to a dealer that is local to you and move books that way while putting some of the others in an app or on a website. Don't just look for a single solution that will solve all of your problems. Look at what's out there, look at what you're offering up, and decide what the best way might be for you. So I want to offer a bonus tip or two. The first thing that I want to mention is to take good photos of your comics. And it doesn't matter whether it is raw or graded, take some good photos. And I'm not saying you have to break out a light box or a fancy camera. All you really need is a good cell phone. Clean the lens, take some good photos that do not have a glare on them. If the comic is raw, take it out of the poly bag or the Mylar. Set it on a clean, flat surface. Take a couple of photos of the front of the comic and the back of the comic. That will go a long way to helping you to sell the comic. Another tip that I'll offer up is to make sure you do some research to determine what an appropriate price is for your comic. Doesn't matter whether it's raw or graded. Look at a pricing service. Look at eBay. Determine what a good price actually is for the comic and price it appropriately. I'm not saying price it cheaply. I'm saying price it based upon the market. One of the worst things you can do is to take your time to identify a book, take all the photos, pick out a platform you want to sell on, take the time to get it posted, price it at a price that doesn't make sense. That is one of the worst things that you can do, because that book will potentially sit there and not be sold. But if your goal is to sell the book, do the research, price it appropriately. Take some time. Do your research, figure it out. There is an answer out there, and there are also videos here on the channel that will help you with a lot of what it is that we've actually talked about over the course of this video. If you enjoyed this video, I want to encourage you to go ahead and hit the thumbs up button, leave a comment behind. If you have follow-up questions, leave those down in the comment section, or reach out to me on Instagram at Regie Collects. Take care.